We can't support this bill because it's basically a rehash of what was discussed before, and it doesn't make any fundamental moves on market alignment or the customs union, or indeed protection of rights, but particularly in relation to consumer rights and the quality of the food that we will eat in the future. There's also, of course, the question of the deliverability of it. The Prime Minister has already indicated she's going to leave office. Many of her own MPs have already said they cannot support the bill. I can't see how it can get through Parliament anyway. No, we'll not be supporting it. All she's offering is a temporary customs union, essentially until the end of the transition period. She's not offering a permanent customs union, which is the fundamental point that we've made throughout the talks that we had with her. And we broke the talks off because they simply were not making progress, because the government was not changing its red lines. Well, no, it takes us to a situation where Parliament will have to face up to the need to get a permanent arrangement with Europe that can be negotiated, which guarantees trade and jobs and rights. This bill doesn't do that. This bill actually takes us in the other direction, and so Parliament will have to deal with that, or the government will have to resign and we'll have to have an election and decide what the future of this country is to be. That we take our case to Parliament, and if that doesn't work, then clearly the government has to go and we have an election, or we reopen the negotiations with Europe in order to get the permanent customs union that I believe to be essential for the protection of jobs and living standards in this country. There are other issues, particularly the issues of rights at work, where the government says they've moved a great deal, and we would want to see a dynamic relationship where workers' rights are the European standard, would be a baseline from which we could improve, not just by a parliamentary vote but by a legislative alignment. But on the questions of environmental protections, food standards, then they've actually gone back on what they were talking about during the negotiations that we had. And I think this moves us ever closer to what Boris Johnson and the Conservative right are talking about, which is a deal with the United States, and therefore a high level of deregulation of our agricultural system and food standards.